Let me bring my mic a little closer.
Uh,
Hey guys, welcome
uh,
back to Crime Talk with
woo, woo,
Stephanie.
woo. Crime talk. I'm so excited for part two.
Oh yes, I'm excited too. And we're gonna,
Mhm,
how it was all maybe we can do it in three parts or four parts. I think it's
mhm.
gonna be a little longer than that because where I had to cut it today, I'm like, oh shit, okay, we're still not at the trial. So forewarning, we're still not at the trial, but we're
Aw,
getting there. So
that's okay. It's
before
juicy.
Thank you. It
Mm-hmm.
is. Before we do, I wanted to ask you a quick question. Have you seen or heard about that new docu-series on Netflix called World's Worst Ex or the Worst Ex Ever or My Shitty
No.
Ex?
Oh
Like
shit,
it's
but I
like
no, but I need to tune in.
mean tune in. So today I texted Annie this morning because I was just finished watching an episode and she had texted me about something else. And I'm like, P.S. Have you seen this show? So what is it? Worst Ex Ever on Netflix.
Oh
And
snap.
she turns it on and then she's texting me throughout. She goes, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it keeps getting worse. I just finished the third episode and I'm like, how are these people real? Like
Really?
the first episode was like, wow, where are you going to go from here? And
Wow.
then and it kind of like will scare you, people who are like online dating, not saying that everybody out there is psycho, but like that right
Hmm.
there solidified my whole like, oh my God, you can't trust anyone
Yes.
online. And also like reminded me how like carefree we were in the 90s, chatting with anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Yeah, with no just no
No
regard
regard.
for the
Yeah.
possibilities of what could be
Holy
hiding
sh
behind the freaking computer.
I yeah, I literally and remember for like a second while I was going through my divorce, like before,
Mhm.
I was like, let me see if I should this would be fun because I always thought like online dating. I was like, wow, that's so cool. It's like you're shopping, like you put your qualities down
Mhm. Oh yeah, no.
online.
Yeah, it's like doing a survey or something,
Yeah.
you
So I was
know?
like, let me try it. And then I got scared and people were contacting me, so I exited
Same
real quick.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so Tony doesn't know this, but when we broke up for a minute, I was like,
Yeah.
F this, I'm gonna find someone, right? Okay. And I straight up was like, let me get on Tinder. Okay, I don't think it was Tinder because I wouldn't do that. Um, I think it was like, what's that one that everybody
Hinge,
does? No, it was like the for old folks. Not really old.
Match.com.
Maybe it was Match.com. It
That's
was,
safe
yeah, is
or
that the one that's like been around forever?
yes, Match and there's another one,
Yeah,
but
there's another
that
one that's older
yeah,
than that. I can't
like
remember the name because nobody
Christian
uses that.
Mingle.
Yeah, I think I did that because I was like, okay, that seems maybe safer. It might be even more scary though. Who
Yeah.
knows, right? And as soon as people started messaging me, I was like, oh my God, I need to
Yeah.
deactivate this like quick.
Yeah,
Because
you're
I'm
like,
like,
I'm
ew, it's
out.
creepy. I give anybody credit for doing that because I couldn't.
I have seen really happy stories
Hmm.
play out and
Oh
very
yeah.
recently too. Like and it's like and it gives me hope, like wow, there really is like people out there,
Hmm.
great people. And I remember when my first encounter, well, my personal one where I stupidly like met, but thank God my mom was in the area, like so
Hmm.
it was okay. But when I was working several years ago at that very first immigration law firm, one of the secretaries had met somebody on Christian Mingle, and then later on he started working at the law firm too, and they were just the most beautiful couple ever.
Hmm.
Like I was like, oh my God, wow, true love.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it actually it can happen, right?
Yeah,
And you
girl.
know what? What do you think the secret is for those type? Because to me, I think that when you go onto these websites, it can work, but I think the people, there are some weirdos, right, that are just
Yeah.
like looking for sex, right? And hooking up. That's it.
Yes.
But as a girl who's not looking for that and who's looking for something serious,
Hmm.
what do you think the secret is to actually find someone? Because to me, it's not, that's why I love the show Love is Blind.
I need to
Because,
watch it.
yeah, because it's not like you can't look just at what you're like, oh, he's hot. I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Even though they say like, oh, we're matching you up by what your likes and dislikes are. It's, but the physical aspect gets in the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think, I mean, do you go for someone that really, because I always tell people to go for someone that really wouldn't be your type and you might be surprised.
That's a good tip. So
Hmm.
I recently, like several months ago, I was like, let me help you with like let me control your dating app with one of my friends. And I
Hmm.
was like, let me just see,
Hmm.
like maybe if you
Right.
let somebody on the outside try, it'll work.
Who
And so
knows you from a different aspect.
yeah. And it's not Hinge or Tinder. What's the other one? Not Plenty of Fish, Bumble.
Hmm.
Bumble. So I got on Bumble because I thought it's a cute name. So
Yeah.
and then people specify like I'm just looking to hook up. I'm just looking for nothing serious, like fun. If you're into this, cool. So one thing that I would say is be super upfront. Like if you're trying to look for something serious, put
Yeah.
that. Like you're not looking for, a sex buddy. You're looking
Yeah.
for true love. And then
Hmm.
also I've seen on TikTok like people like who have been catfished or whatever, like they
Hmm.
always say put full body pictures
Hmm. Oh
because
yeah.
sometimes little boys get their feelings hurt if like, you appear to to look svelte on top, but then you roll up and you're not. So
Yes.
I mean, that's a little like shady, but also
Oh,
like,
that's totally shady, I
props,
think.
right. So like just be upfront.
Yeah.
Like this is what you're gonna get, boo. Are you lucky or what? Like
Hmm.
you want
Exactly.
all of this?
Hmm.
Okay.
Because it's not going to work, because that's the first
Yeah, like
point of
this.
like deception. Yes, exactly. Like for real. I mean, you have to be like, because that's the thing. Unfortunately, physical attraction is, I wouldn't want someone that's looking for someone that's a toothpick,
Right.
and all of a sudden I've only shown this part, but they're like, when they meet me, like, okay, no, or it's the same
Right.
thing with me. If I don't
Right.
want someone that's scrawny, and
Right.
then over here they're like this, and then all of a sudden I meet them and they're like a
Or
Twizzler,
right. Or it doesn't even have to be about size. Girls are like they don't want to date guys that are shorter than them. I'm
Right.
not saying all of them, but it could be like a Samantha Jones thing where she meets a guy sitting down, then he gets off the chair and he's like 4 feet tall. It's a
Yes,
lot. Like women are
exactly.
vain too.
Oh,
But
completely. It goes
like,
both ways.
yeah, and I'm telling you, I don't even know how we got, oh yeah, because of online dating. This one episode, girl, oh my God, just please do me a favor.
Shoot.
And when you have a sec, just throw on the first episode and then
Oh,
text me
oh my
because it
God.
was,
Oh my God. In the first episode, the girl's name is Justine.
yes,
I
yes.
I'm scared.
I forgot to say that. Yeah.
I
But
have it open. I'm like, oh my goodness.
yeah, like, oh my God. So just please watch it. It's so good. Everybody watch it if you haven't. If you have, let us know because I'm obsessed. I'm not done yet. I'm so excited that I have more to
Yeah.
watch.
Shit.
They better be renewing this series because I'm invested. There's so many
Wow.
people out there that have been screwed over. And I'm not like,
Mm-hmm.
yay for that. I'm just like, it's eye-opening,
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Because it makes you realize, like, okay, there's this girl, and I don't know
Mhm.
if you know of her, but she's a girl on Instagram and she calls herself the San Francisco Samantha Jones.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Is she annoying?
yes.
Let me
To
see
me, she
this.
is, but she has a huge following. Like, I want to say, like, almost a million or half a million followers. And she's just like out there, like doing her thing. Crap, I don't even know if that's her handle or anything. Uh, I'll have to find her and I'll send her to if you can't find her.
What does she look like?
She has brownish long hair, freckles, blue eyes. I think it's
Hi.
blue eyes. Um, I wouldn't say to me, like she's gorgeous or anything. She's just your average girl, but she's a single girl in San Francisco that is basically documenting her life, you know, trying to find love. And so
Okay.
you go through her day to day, like work, but she keeps track of all these dates that come up. And I'm like, okay, that's fine and all, but it's hard. Like when you hear people, and like she says, she struggles with, you know, trying to find someone, and then the online stuff, and then also her career of being an influencer and documenting this. A lot of guys aren't down with that either. Like dating in general is just really effed up. Like I was thinking
Yeah.
about that the other day. It was like when we used to go out, like when we were younger, like people would bar hop, meet each other that way, or like
Yes.
parties. Nothing is, I mean, still a lot of things that are done, socially, but there's a lot of things though where a lot of kids nowadays like don't like to. They like to be in the comfort of their own home on the computer doing
Yeah.
whatever, you
We're
know?
very screen oriented nowadays. That's
Yeah.
real true.
Mhm.
But like, those meat cutes, like you're at the
Mhm.
grocery store and you reach for the cantaloupe as this,
Yeah.
dashing
Mhm.
single guy reaches and you giggle and then you fall in love.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Like the meet cutes. Do you know anybody who's met cute
No.
like that?
No, I mean, I guess, I think for us, like, and maybe this is like an American thing, because I've heard a lot of people that are from like Europe or South America, other countries, right?
Yeah.
That kind of thing is more common because the girls aren't as taken back by it when it happens. But here in the US, when like a guy comes up to you in the supermarket or in a casual walk and you bump into whatever it is, right? You're more like, ugh, you know?
Yes. We're
So,
very untrusting. You're so
yeah.
right. Well, shit. I mean,
Hmm.
that just goes to show
Yeah.
you. Like,
I mean, I would be, and I think too, though, it's the approach.
yeah,
Because if someone comes up to me as like super like aggressive, you know,
it's a turn
that's,
off.
yeah, it is. It's like, God, I feel like moms need to teach their boys to be, girls nowadays, I mean, girls throughout time just want to be treated nicely, respectfully. I mean, that's all a girl wants. Like,
Mhm.
there's a way to do things. But when
There
you come
is.
on too strong, it's like, ew.
Yeah, you're gonna run for the hills for
Yeah.
sure. No, I know. I would. I mean,
Uh-huh. Because it's
yeah.
not a good feeling because you can't really trust it,
No.
you know?
Yeah. Like, is it a bet? Like, is he a serial
Mm-hmm.
killer? Like, so many things.
Yes,
Is he related
exactly.
to me? Like,
Right? Yeah, I'm just not down with that. But you know what? Real quick, I just wanted to share something. Have you ever used Pond's cream?
oh yeah, I have some. What do
Uh,
you use it for? Like to remove your makeup or
yeah,
like just good
so
old
I
like
used the Pond's cold cream before to remove my
yes.
makeup, and I didn't really like it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does everybody like this? I
Yeah.
was like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, because I felt like it got in my eyes. So I was like, I ain't
Uh-huh.
down with
Yeah.
that, right? But randomly, I chose a Pond's rejuvenating skin cream for wrinkles.
Talk to
And
me.
holy mackerel, Steph, my
I mean,
skin has
first of all,
never
you
been
have
better.
okay, I need somebody with shitty skin to try this before I fully cartwheel because you have baby skin. And
Oh,
why are
no.
you looking at wrinkle
No, because I'm like, you gotta, just I don't know. I
prevent?
I I look like Mrs. Doubtfire when she puts her freaking head in the pie, the whipped cream, okay? I'm like
Oh
I'm
my God.
lathering this shit on in the morning and
Shit.
night.
Okay, in the morning and night. Okay, and that's your last step in the morning and
It's
night?
my only step.
Okay. Damn, because I
I
have a
do the
routine.
ordinary.
Okay.
I
Yes, I
have
love that for
that.
my eyes. The
Hmm.
caffeine.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Mm-hmm.
do the niacinamide,
Mm-hmm.
hyaluronic acid.
Mm-hmm.
So I do those, and then at night, and then I'll do the Pond's as a,
Mm-hmm.
sealant.
What about
Okay.
sunscreen? Because
Oh yeah, exactly. In the
okay.
morning,
Yeah.
I my moisturizer that I use has sunscreen in it, so I put that. But I usually, and that's right before if I do my makeup or something.
Okay.
But the Pond's, oh my gosh, my skin
Really?
is like,
I'm
I just
getting
love
some.
it so much, and it smells so good. And I know
Oh,
it's probably
sold.
not good for you. I don't care.
I don't
Like
care.
it is so good.
I
Like
want
there's
to
some
look
things
20
I just,
forever.
yes, there are some things that I need to just be like, okay. I
Yeah.
don't care if I can't pronounce the
Yeah.
ingredients. It smells freaking good. It makes me
Yeah.
happy.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna get
Yeah.
some on Annie. Yay.
Yes, please do.
Wait, on the same topic, have you used Vanny cream before?
I've heard of that, but I have not.
So apparently a holy grail
Mm-hmm.
is Vanny cream, and this is at night for glass skin. It's
Mm-hmm.
Vanny cream, castor oil. You
Yeah.
mix it, you slather it. Apparently you wake up looking like, I don't know. Who's the
See,
youngest little?
okay, see, this is my issue though with things because I even have that issue when I do the pawns. And prior to pawns, because I've only been using this for a month, I was using the ordinary because not only is their stuff good, but it's also affordable, right?
Yes.
And they have one, the rose hip oil.
Yeah.
So I was slathering that on
Hell
right after
yeah.
all my six little,
Right.
things. And oh my God, though, I literally had my face imprint on my pillow like
Oh my
Jesus when
God.
they
I know.
put, the I'm like, it's ridiculous. How do you sleep
Yeah.
like that? Because I'm not like one of those people that is just sleep on my back.
I
So
try.
I can't do it.
My pillow, I know I can relate to the pillowcase thing on my prod. And then especially like the day before work, like
Hmm.
office day. Girl,
Hmm.
I got my bonnet. I'm slathered. Angel's like, what did I marry?
For real. Yes, exactly. And it's a hot mess. So I don't understand how anybody could do that.
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
I just, so, because like with the ponds, I put it on like an hour before bed so it seeps in there. So, because if you have a silk pillow, which I don't, but if you have a silk pillow, you're definitely leaving a grease mark.
Yeah.
So, this Vanny cream or whatever it is,
Yeah.
like that, that's like glass because I've seen people put Vaseline all over. I'm like, how does this not get messy?
It just does. You have to keep changing your freaking, maybe
See?
they have 7 pillowcases that they rotate.
Okay. Yeah. See, and that irritates me.
Me too. Me
Because,
too. Because,
yeah, I would love glassy skin. I mean,
yeah.
would I really want glassy skin? I don't know. But I mean, it looks nice, but
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, this may be controversial, but
mhm.
I personally want matte skin. Like I don't want to be oily.
I like dewy skin, but
Yeah.
I don't like oily.
I
Like
do
there's a
not
there's a
like
fine
oily.
line.
Girl,
Hmm.
if I feel I got my little whatever the
Blotters.
hell's, yes. I'm like, because I
Hmm.
do not like it. I don't want to
Yeah.
feel, and I feel it. Nope.
Oh yeah, and there is nothing worse when you're talking to someone and
Ugh.
their skin is so oily to where you could see it, like you
You
could
could
almost smell
fry an
it.
egg on their
Yes.
face.
Just
Yeah.
like the hair. Ugh.
Ew. On that note, I'm
Mhm.
disgusted. But I will
Ugh.
be buying that cream. So thank you for sharing with the
Yes.
group.
It's so good. Yes, it'll change your life.
Awesome. Hey guys, she's a professional, so you should be jotting this down if you haven't.
Yeah, because I'm
Reach for
pretty sure
the,
if you asked your grandmothers, they all used it.
oh yeah, an oil of Olay. I love the way that smells.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I
Yes,
haven't
it
used
smells
it
so good
in
too.
eons, but I can smell it right now. And
Same here.
caress the pink
Girl, that's what I use.
I miss it.
I
Oh,
know that's not good for you either.
I know. I know
None of it's good for you.
Angel
No.
has pure soap for us, so we don't have any like toxins.
But see, I have this thing in my head to where I have to have a scent.
Yeah, me
It
too.
has to it has to smell a certain way.
Uh-huh.
Like
No,
if I'm using a certain type of soap, I'm
sensitive
like, I'm
skin.
not clean enough then.
Thank you. Because then what I do is I use my sensitive skin soap to
Hmm.
cleanse. Then I go ahead and follow up with shower gel and like
Of
scrubs.
course.
'Cause I need to
Yeah,
smell good.
exactly. Hey, you know what? There's a compromise. I don't go into Bath and Body. I don't get any of that.
Right.
So let me at least have the soap, even though I'm
Mhm.
putting it on the biggest organ of my body. But whatever. There's tons of chemtrails out here, so it really doesn't
Mhm.
matter. I could be, whatever I'm inhaling is probably killing me faster.
Uh, right now, as we're sitting
Yes.
here. Yeah, I know
Exactly.
everything, like my freaking
Yeah.
iced coffee. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Yes.
But anyways,
I mean, that's a crime in itself. But what do you got?
nice segue.
Thank you.
That
I
was
know
really
that just rolled off my tongue too.
that was yeah. I have a little chill right now. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
We have to make that into a sound bite for Crime Talks.
Okay.
Oh yes, now that we're all like lubed up and moisturized and ready to
Ooh.
go, we're
Yeah,
gonna
let's
go ahead.
slide into this.
We're picking up from where we left off in part one of the Menendez brothers
Mm.
case. So that means if you haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, go ahead and hit that pause button, check it out, and then meet us back here when you're done.
Mhm.
Okay?
We'll be waiting.
We will with our iced coffees and chemicals. But
Yes.
before we get started, just going to put the reissue the trigger warnings. I don't know that we need them, and I'm just going to do it before every episode. So murder by firearms, the deadly injury sustained, incest, child abuse, and rape. So listener discretion is advised as always. Um, on August, let's see here, on August 25th, 1989, 5 days after the murder of Jose and Kitty Menendez, their sons Erik and Lyle held a very fancy pants memorial service at the Directors Guild of America in LA. So they
Okay.
actually ended up arriving about an hour late in a limo, all
Hmm.
decked out.
Hmm.
And the people in attendance, which includes Sylvester Stallone, how
Wow.
iconic is that?
Okay. How regal. Hmm.
Yeah, so they took notice that older brother Lyle appeared cool, calm, and collected, while Erik was a complete mess. He was absolutely distraught, red from crying, the whole nine. I mean, who wouldn't be? They're at their parents' memorial. Um, During the memorial, and this was actually referenced in the Netflix series Monsters,
Hmm.
the song "Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You" by the ever iconic Milli Vanilli was played among a few other hits by the pop duo. So I actually thought that this was added in by Ryan Murphy to his
Hmm.
show to add pizzazz to the
Yeah.
scene.
The time
But
frame.
this actually happened. So I'm like,
That's crazy.
what?
Yeah, that's really weird, especially, I could see that in a normal funeral if someone died of natural causes,
Hmm.
not not when they died at the hands of their children. Although no one knew this at that point, but still it
Exactly.
kind of takes away from that's weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily bump that at my parents' funeral with a slideshow of photos. And apparently the brothers did not select this song, even though they did like Milli Vanilli was huge back then. Apparently it
Mhm.
was Live Entertainment, which was Jose's employer. They
Mhm.
were in charge of putting the songs together. So maybe they thought they were doing something
Interesting.
great. But of course, if you've seen that first episode, Lyle is at the podium, the actor playing Lyle, and he kind of indicates to the DJ, hit it. And then the song comes on, but that's not how it happened. The song was played, but Lyle
Mhm.
wasn't all like, chill, like,
Wow.
DJ,
Mhm.
put a record on, you know? Oh.
Drop some beats.
God, I'm surprised he didn't do that because the way that the actor, like the way Lyle was portrayed in the series was horrendous. Have you seen it yet?
Mm-mm. I want to wait until
Mm.
after you finish this
Okay, okay,
series.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, wow. Okay, I
Because,
better hurry up.
but just real quick to clarify, Lyle's the older one.
Yes.
Okay. I always get
Yes.
confused because they do, they don't look alike, but they do.
Yes. It's like
Yeah.
they're one, like
Mm-hmm.
and they were super close, so that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Lyle's the older brother.
Gotcha.
So 3 days after this unforgettable memorial, on August 28th, a church service was held for Kitty and Lyle in Princeton, where Lyle spoke for almost half an hour and he shared, the standard, my parents meant the world to me speech. Erik was apparently too upset to talk. Again, I don't think this is too odd. I mean, people grieve in different ways, and I bet the people who were there thought the same thing. They're like, "Oh my God, he can't speak." I know I wouldn't be able to, so
Yeah,
okay, that makes
exactly.
sense. However, people's opinions would later change when they started to find out how Erik and Lyle were coping with what happened. So let's chit and
Hmm.
chat about that. So, after the murders of Jose and Kitty, the brothers, I guess they needed to find a way to deal with their feelings. So they went shopping. And I don't mean a one-off shopping spree where you, oops, accidentally blow a couple $100 in a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you the total amount, your underwear might disintegrate because I was
Well,
like, are you
crap.
serious? Like it was insane. So oh, and by the way, the shopping sprees were funded by their father's personal life insurance policy. So they shopped on daddy's dime. And let's talk about some of the things that they bought. First
That's
up,
not suspicious.
I know, be chill. Like, how is that being chill? Like, oh my
Yeah,
God.
exactly.
Yeah. So, some of the things that they bought included three new Rolex watches, which came to a total of $15,000. And they
Wow.
wore their new watches to their parents' funerals.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yes. Lyle bought himself a special edition $64,000 Porsche Carrera to replace his Alfa Romeo, which I'm not sure what brand of car that is, but
Dang.
it had been a gift from his parents after graduating from high school, and he was like, ew, this is gross. And that
Really?
that was proven to be true in court later on. I think the car salesman testified to the outburst
Holy
that
crap. So you had
Lyle,
a meltdown.
yeah, a little bit of a little temper tantrum. He was like, I don't like this. He practically like stomped and kicked his feet. Like he was so embarrassed.
It's a luxury Italian car.
Holy
I
shit.
mean, so much so that we don't even know what kind of car that
Girl, I'm like, what the hell is this? Thank you for checking.
exactly.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he thought it was a freaking beater. And so he decided
Wow.
to upgrade to a Porsche. And Eric, now he had a Mustang and he was like, you know what? I'm going to get a new car too. So he actually upgraded to a Jeep Wrangler. And back to Lyle real quick. Even though he had his fancy new Porsche, he decided to hire himself a chauffeur, like
Hmm.
not to drive his Porsche limos. So there's
Wow.
that. And then I don't understand the logic here, but Eric apparently invested about $40,000 into funding a rock concert. And he gave this money to his friend who was like the so-called concert promoter. And then
Mm-hmm.
the friend takes the 40K and then bails. So he's out the 40K.
Wow.
Okay. And Eric also hired himself a private tennis coach whose fee was about 60K a year and paid for this coach to also travel with him to competitions and basically just train him like 10 hours a day. Like that's what he was doing. He was like, I am not going to go to college. I'm going to become the best tennis player on earth. And so that was he was focusing on that.
Okay.
In addition to all of this, there were trips to Aspen, Cancun, Tahoe, really expensive stereo equipment, clothes, accessories, the limo services, just to name a few. So drum roll, please, for the shopping spree total. It is, I love it. It was approximately $700,000 that they
Oh my gosh.
blew through, okay? And like lickety
Wow.
split. And let's not forget that this was in 1989. Like that's a
Yeah.
crazy amount today. So like back then it was like, are you kidding? Like
Yeah.
what do you
So, like, real quick though, what do you think their reasoning was to, do you think they, because, like, if you think you might be caught, like, what's your, all this stuff is going to be taken, right?
Well, I can answer you this way. They thought they were not going to get caught. They were fully
Yeah.
convinced that they had covered their tracks and they had committed the perfect crime.
Perfect crime.
Mhm. So they were just gonna like
Wow.
chill with their new toys and the money was never gonna run out. That's what they thought. So, approximately 1 week after the murders, Eric and Lyle met with live entertainment executives to chat about any assets that they might be entitled to, being the sole beneficiaries. So, I
Hmm.
don't know if you remember from our last episode, but Jose's employer renewed his contract with them, and they had also invested in a key man life insurance policy worth $15 million.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if something happened to Jose, live entertainment would benefit. So
Mm-hmm.
beneficiaries who? No, live entertainment was the one who was going to get that amount of money. Um,
Wow.
but
Dang,
live
I didn't
enter
even know they could do that.
yeah, yeah. I
Wow.
guess I didn't know either till
Hmm.
this.
Interesting.
But apparently live entertainment also took out another policy worth 5 million that would go to Jose's assigned beneficiary if he died. However, this policy was apparently not valid as Jose had not yet completed the physical examination that was required by the insurance company.
Yikes.
Uh-huh. I'm sure that's what they were
Mm-hmm.
thinking. So during this sit down, the brothers claimed to not feel safe at their homes. They were like, you know what? We're worried that the people that murdered my parents, they might come back for us. We can't stay here. So Live Entertainment agreed to put them up in a hotel for a few days. The brothers like, okay, cool. We'll feel safest, I think, at the Bel Air Hotel. Now, when I was a little girl, okay, and when we were watching 90210, that
Oh,
name
this,
came up
yes.
a
Mm-hmm.
lot. We were like,
Yeah.
wow, that is like the chicest hotel in the world.
Yeah. That is
Okay.
the, for the elite.
That is creme de la creme status. So, they were like, this is what we want. And Live agreed. because what else were they gonna do? They felt bad, they're like, hey, like they won't go crazy. They're depressed.
Mhm.
At the end of their 5-day stay, the final bill was $8,800, which included a $2,000 room service bill.
Oh my
Again,
gosh.
this is in 1989. Like, that's insanity. So, after their hotel stay, the brothers decided to rent their own apartment since they did not want to return to the Menendez mansion. I can't say that I blame them. I wouldn't want to go back either.
Mhm.
Rather than move in together, they rented apartments next door to each other. Next door,
Hmm.
like smack dab, like right there
Wow.
in the Marina City Towers in Marina Del Rey. Their rent was approximately $2,500 a month each.
Hmm.
Um, it appeared to people that Lyle wanted to step into his father's shoes and become the family's new business tycoon. He started dressing in expensive suits. I mean, he had his new Rolex, his Porsche. He decided, you know what? I'm going to start a business and I'm going to call it the Menendez Investment Enterprises. Snazzy name.
Mhm.
One little snafu was he had no experience. He didn't have a business background whatsoever. He looked the part,
Yeah.
but he was not going to let that stop him. So he rounded up some of his buddies from Princeton, none of whom had business experience either. And he appointed them officers of his new business. He's like, you guys are hired. Let's do this. Let's take over the world. And he
Mhm.
rented an office for approximately $3,000 a month that he decked out with the most expensive furniture ever. But then he ended up just not using it ever. It sat untouched for months. Like
Wow.
he just bought it. Like, I have an office. Like,
Dang,
what?
yeah. Wow.
Like,
Okay.
oh my
How
God.
nice.
I know. So apart from that, one of his first business ventures, now he's, this tycoon, was in the restaurant industry. And he bought a small restaurant at the low, low price of $550,000.
Hmm.
He ended up losing a lot of money because he didn't know what he was doing. Like, it was
Wow.
like a well-to-do business, an existing business already, like kind of
Mhm.
near Princeton. And
Mhm.
then what did he do? He changed the name when it was well known and doing good under this existing name. Like,
Mhm.
who told him to do that?
Yeah,
So that was
exactly.
his big mistake right there. And allegedly he overpaid for the business. He overpaid by like 300,000, I
Oh
think.
my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh,
Yeah. People
okay.
were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, now it's like, okay, you're just being frivolous.
I think from the get. I think once they
Mhm.
bought those Rolexes, it was like balls to the wall. Let's just do
Exactly.
this. Like, I don't know
Shoot.
what.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Meanwhile, the cops were scratching their heads and trying to solve the murders of Jose and Kitty. So, like I mentioned in the last episode, Lyle had indicated that perhaps the mob had something to do with it, since Jose was a big shot in the industry. And during the course of their investigation, the cops interviewed a lot of people, many of whom shared horror stories about Jose's behavior. He was not well liked. And Joan, who is Kitty's sister, was apparently approached at the memorial by a few of Jose's business colleagues who told her that he really got a kick from humiliating other men.
Oh,
I don't even know what you say to that.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's
because it's not
weird.
like she knew him in any other kind of light. That was her brother-in-law. Like, and you're
Yeah,
gonna say that rather than here are my condolences.
exactly. Huh.
Yeah.
That's
So,
okay.
so he wasn't well liked. And the
Mhm.
cops were like, shit, maybe the mob did have something to do with it. So,
Mhm.
but police detectives kind of changed their minds a little bit when they interviewed Peter and Karen Wire, who were friends with Jose and Kitty back when they lived in Calabasas. So detectives Zoller and Linehan, who were the ones running this investigation, they were kind of taken aback when Peter stated that he wondered if Erik and Lyle had anything to do with the murders. Okay, the first
Mm.
person to freaking say that. When asked to elaborate, like, hey, can you wanna give me some reasons why?
Right.
Peter Peter was like, something was off about them. Something was always off about them. They were
Mhm.
almost too polite. And here's where I kind of relate with Peter, because if someone's too nice off the bat all the damn time, I immediately think they're sketchy. Like,
Oh, totally.
that's a
All
shitty
the
thing to
time.
say, but like, yeah,
Yeah, it's like because you're no one's that perfect.
exactly.
You
It's a
know, and
bust.
like usually when people are that nice, they're trying to get something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, or
Ugh.
hide something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so they were like, after receiving this tip, they decided to keep their eyes on the brothers and they watched. They watched as Erik and Lyle threw money around like confetti almost immediately after the murders. By the end of 1989, they had spent over $1 million, like
Oh my God.
on nada, on nothing. And
Yeah.
Jose and Kitty, they had only been murdered 4.5 months earlier. Like,
Yeah.
what? Who?
Man. Now, yeah, where's the I mean, some people could say, oh, they were grieving. That was the way
Yeah,
they were coping,
they
but
were numb. Like,
yeah, but still that's like they don't have parents anymore.
mhm.
So they're all on their own. Like they're not thinking. It's just that's weird. Red flag all over.
All over. And they were going off for the police too. They were fully convinced that the brothers were involved in the murders. So they kept their peepers on them.
Hmm.
And on October 24th, 1989, Detective Zoller goes to pay Erik a little visit at the Menendez mansion. I don't know why he was there, but that's where the
Hmm.
interview took place. He appeared to be calm on the outside, but he was shaken to his core. And as soon as the detectives left, Erik tries to call his brother, but couldn't get a hold of him. And he was so desperate to talk to somebody. I mean, he was like dealing with a lot. He was like, fuck, I killed my parents. And what if I get caught? And whatever the hell else he was dealing with at that time. So he decided to reach out and call his therapist, Jerome Oziel. Now, that name is going to be pivotal in this case. And he made an appointment to see him on Halloween on October 31st.
Hmm.
And during this particular session, Erik told Dr. Oziel that he was feeling depressed and suicidal. So the doctor tried to get him to expand more on this. Like he kept pushing, like, come on, why? What's going on? And so it was during this session that Erik finally revealed that he and Lyle were the ones who had murdered their parents. He just could not keep it in any
Oh my
longer.
gosh, I didn't know this.
Yeah. So one, uh-huh.
Oh, I've been pissed at my brother.
Hold on. So once
Wow.
Erik confessed, he could not stop talking. So he shared how he and Lyle had been inspired by the
Oh my
miniseries, which I
goodness.
had never seen. It's called Billionaire Boys Club,
Hmm.
and how they had, they were like, maybe we should do that. And how they had only wanted to kill Jose, but felt that they had no choice but to also kill their mother. I guess the Billionaire Boys Club, they killed their parents, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
And they were like, I can't leave, be like, what our mom's gonna give us up if we kill our dad. So we have to kill her too. Uh at this
Wow.
point, Oziel's like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, hold on, hit the pause button and call your brother Lyle. Tell him to come over here now.
Oh my God. Okay, this is why I didn't watch the show because I'm like what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh.
while they're waiting for Lyle, who's probably fucking pissed, he's still talking. He shared how he and Lyle drove to San Diego to buy their shotguns from a Big Five sporting goods store and use their friend's stolen driver's license as their ID. And he shared how they thought that they had been so careful cleaning the guns after the murder, retrieving all of the bullet casings, and how they threw the guns into a canyon on Mulholland Drive, and how they disposed of their bloody clothes and bullet casings into a gas station's dumpster, and how they went to the movie theater to buy tickets to establish an alibi. However, this would not work because it was timestamped. The tickets are timestamped. So
Hmm.
sorry, you're shit out of luck. And it was timestamped after the murders. So
Hmm.
he's basically outlining the entire series. He's giving him a timeline of the events. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he shared that after driving around, they just finally went back to the house and they made the 911 call that we discussed in the first episode.
Hmm.
Uh,
Oh.
by this time, Lyle shows up and he was pissed. Okay. He was
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? He's like losing his marbles. He then reportedly told Dr. Oziel that their father would be proud of them for committing such an impressive murder. Kind of a weird thing to say, but I kind
Yeah.
of believe him, especially when we learn more about Jose's character later
Hmm.
on. maybe he was right. So Dr. Oziel would later testify in court that he explained to them the difference between a crime of passion, like during an argument, and a crime committed to reach a particular goal. So in this case, the goal
Mhm.
was deemed to be money. Okay.
Right.
Dr. Oziel further stated that after he said this, Erik and Lyle looked at each other and said, well, I guess we're sociopaths. Sorry, I cut out. He said that the committing a crime to reach a particular goal would mean that you're a sociopath. So then
Mhm.
they then waited a beat and said, I guess we're sociopaths. What does that
Gotcha.
say? So
Mhm.
Dr. Oziel was like, holy shit. And
Dang.
as the session's coming to an end, Lyle turns to Dr. Oziel and told him he would kill him if he told anyone about what Erik had told him during the session. Okay.
Oh my God. So now they've another crime.
Uh-huh.
Threats.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So on November 2nd, Erik and Lyle go to meet with Dr. Oziel again, where Lyle pretty much threatened him again and even told him that he and Erik had considered killing him in order to protect their deadly secret. Now, at this point, I have no idea what Dr. Oziel was thinking. He had had his life threatened now more than once and could have reported the brothers to the police for this alone. And hello, they had just confessed to murdering their parents in cold blood. But rather than call the police, hello, I still don't get it. He assured the brothers that he could not report them because they had confessed during a session to their therapist. And so
Huh.
therapist patient confidentiality applied. And he's right.
Shoot.
So,
Even a crime?
well, that would be up for the court to decide later. So, but yeah, it's like a priest. You
I was
can't
gonna say, is it like
disclose.
confession?
It's like a priest, it's like a doctor. It's like you cannot violate confidentiality.
Wow. So it's like HIPAA.
And you have to exactly, and you have to like jump through hoops to like prove otherwise, even murder. It's crazy.
Wow.
So saying this, they seemed to calm down a little bit. They were like, "Oh, we're protected." And so Dr. Oziel continued taking notes and tape recording their sessions because he's a doctor, so he's tape recording all their he got
Wow. Okay. At least he has that.
Mhm. So the brothers continued to meet with him and they continued to speak really candidly because they felt like that, they were protected by this confidentiality clause. And they
Mm-hmm.
finally were like, oh, we could breathe, we could tell people. So
Mm-hmm.
that happened. Now, fast forward a little bit after, actually, not too much. On November 17th, Detective Zoller and Linehan conducted an interview with Eric's bestie, Craig Signorelli.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you remember from episode one, Craig is the friend that wrote the screenplay titled Friends with
Mm-hmm.
Eric before the murders.
Uh-huh.
And let me tell you, Craig
Mm-hmm.
sang like a freaking canary, okay?
Shoot. Craig knew too?
Well, here we go. So, before I tell you
Man.
about what went down in this interview, please be warned, I'm about to overuse the word allegedly a lot. Okay. So, you've
Okay.
been warned. So, anywho, Craig shared that shortly after the murders had occurred, he had visited Eric at the Menendez mansion. And Eric had allegedly asked Craig if he wanted to know how, air quotes, it happened. Craig knew immediately to what he was referring to. And so Eric allegedly told Craig that on the night of the murders, he and Lyle had come home to get his fake ID so that he can get some drinks. Okay. They were going to go to dinner or something. So he goes in, he gets his ID, and he walks back outside to where Lyle was waiting. And when he got to the car, Lyle was allegedly standing outside of the car holding the shotguns that they had purchased in San Diego. He
Mm.
told Eric, quote, let's do it. Oh, was that your dog or my dog?
I think it was yours.
Oh, I think it's mine. Sorry. They're
But I didn't
holding
hear
their
anything,
pearls.
so.
Okay, good. Allegedly the plan was that Lyle, are you kidding me? Was to shoot Jose. Oh my God, they're still barking. Okay, let me start over. Okay, allegedly the plan was that Lyle was supposed to shoot Jose and Eric was supposed to shoot Kitty. Craig
Mhm.
told, hold on one second, everybody, I'm going to cuss my dogs out. 1 second, please. I'm back.
You're
Okay.
funny.
So Lyle was, gonna shoot Jose. Erik was supposed to shoot his mother. And Craig told the detectives that Erik told him that he and Lyle burst into the family's den where Jose and Kitty were watching television. Lyle pointed his gun at Jose and immediately shot him. He then went behind his father and shot him in the head. Erik, allegedly, told Craig that he was unable to shoot his mother and that when she tried to get away, Lyle allegedly shot her. Craig
Hmm.
stated that Erik told him, quote, after it looked like my mother was dead, I shot her twice with my gun. Craig told Detective Zoller and Linehan that he didn't know whether to believe this particular statement. And okay, so I'm going to show my bias a little bit. Seeing how Erik acted in court, and we're going to talk about it later, his sensitive personality, and hearing about the abuse that he allegedly endured, I could
Hmm.
see him chickening out and shooting after the fact, like to say that he did it, but
Right.
like Lyle seemed to be, comes off to me as more like sturdy and strong.
Hmm.
And Eric's just, I don't know. I don't know why.
More
I don't know.
sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. But
Hmm.
who knows? So
Yeah.
now the detectives, hearing all this, they were giddy. They were like, damn, we got these deets now. We're finally getting somewhere. But the only issue here was that Craig wasn't completely sure that this is what happened. He was not a witness to the crime, and he was only relaying what Erik had allegedly confessed to him. Craig could be making this shit up. There's no proof.
Hmm.
So the detectives met with the DA, and at the time that was Pam Ferrero, to tell her what they had so far. And she informed them that while the information was promising, it was not enough to file criminal charges. So they decide to ask Craig to wear a wire and to get Erik to somehow confess to him again. Simple, right?
Hmm.
Also, that's his best friend. He couldn't possibly agree to this, right?
Right. You would
Oh no,
think.
Craigie Poo actually agreed. He
Oh,
was like, okay,
oh,
this is best friend, you guys. And he
wow.
was like, you know what? I'll do it. So he set up a little dinner date with his BFF for November 29th at Gladstone's for Fish in Pacific Palisades. And at the dinner, they're talking, and Craig's trying to be chill and see how to bring it up. And somehow, I don't know, he doesn't know what happened, but basically, Erik all of a sudden tells Craig, I lied to you before. Like, me and Lyle didn't have anything to do with our parents' murders. So either he
Hmm.
like sensed something was fishy, or he felt
Interesting.
he was like, shit, I told him too much. I need to clean this up. It was my chance.
Dang. That's
So yep. So that was it. So, but even though the meeting was a bust and they didn't get the evidence that they were looking to get, the DA was fully convinced that Craig had been truthful in their initial meeting on the 17th. So now she
hmm.
believed that what he was telling cops was the truth. Like now they
Hmm.
had to get proof of it somehow.
Right.
So no evidence yet, and the case is at a standstill. And the detectives were worried that time was running out. And it wouldn't be long before Jose's estate was probated, and the brothers would ride off into the sunset with all of the money. But, buckle in. As luck would have it, on March 5th, 1990, detectives Linehan and Zoller received the break that they were waiting for from an unlikely source. And that turned
Hmm.
out to be a woman named Judalon Smith. Who the
Okay,
hell is this?
Judon.
Also, what name is that? I've never heard
Exactly.
of that name until this case. And it's a little
Judalon. How
iconic.
do you spell that?
It's,
Judalon?
uh-huh,
Really?
precisely.
Oh,
And she spells Smith with a Y.
okay.
This woman is iconic. So
Yeah.
let's get to know her a
Wow.
little bit. First of all, Judalon was 37 years old and she was a business owner. She had her own audio tape duplicating business. And do those still exist? Because that's cool. Like I imagine it smelling like the 70s. I don't know why. And
Mm.
there's like VHS
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, I could smell the patchouli.
I love it.
Okay. And you know what, though, real quick, I looked it up because I'm like, I've never heard that name before. It means a feminine given name that carries a sense of wisdom and femininity. I can't say that word. It is a combination of the names Judith and Alon.
Oh,
Judalon.
I have a feeling we're gonna hear that name again with babies being born in the year 2025. Because
Probably.
this woman is iconic. So,
Love it.
besides owning her own business, she was the lover of none other than Dr. Jerome Oziel and
Ooh.
married
Okay.
Dr. Jerome Oziel.
Oh, snap.
And Judalon was pissed. She was a woman scorned because I think he was trying to break off their relationship. So she was like, think
Mm.
again, bitch. So Judalon shared with the detectives that Dr. Oziel had asked her to come and eavesdrop on that October 31st therapy session with the brothers, which is the day that Erik confessed to him. I
Hmm.
think maybe he had stepped out and called her, like, hey, some shit might go down. Can you come just pretend to be a patient outside just in case you hear anything, like
Yeah, I
gunshots?
was
I don't
gonna
know
say,
what.
how come she was there? Okay, now it makes sense. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she was like, you're weird, but okay. So she like went and she told detectives that she heard a lot of shouting. She heard Lyle shout, I can't believe you told him, as well as, well, now we have to kill him. And Judalon said that Erik screamed back to his brother that he couldn't stop him, but that he couldn't kill anymore. I can't stop you, Lyle, but I can't kill. So the
Mm.
session concludes with Erik running out of the office in tears and Lyle and Dr. Oziel coming out right after him. Judalon watched without watching and heard Lyle threaten Dr. Oziel, saw him shake his hand, and wish the doctor luck. Creepy.
Mm.
So
Wow.
Judalon continues talking, and she tells detectives that Dr. Oziel continued counseling the brothers after this incident, which I'm sure made no sense to her. I mean, his life was threatened. I still don't know why. Maybe he wanted to write a tell-all. I don't know, but like he
Hmm.
seemed hell-bent on wanting to help them try to piece together events in their family history that could
Hmm.
have caused them to kill their parents. Like you don't just like wake up and want to kill your parents. Something must have
Yeah,
happened. I mean, everyone's
exactly.
thinking it was for the money. It's just greed. But the doctor was like, no.
Huh. Because, oh, so my question is like, okay, obviously the doctor could not say anything due to, their code of conduct, whatever.
Yes.
But if, say, she's a patient, okay,
Hmm.
in their waiting room, okay, and she happens to overhear something, could she say something?
Yes, because she's not breaking confidentiality.
Right.
So, but she kept a secret because like he I think was like making some little promises to her, like, no, like we're cool, like just be chill, don't
Mhm.
say anything.
Yeah, don't get me killed.
But
Uh-huh.
that's why she was able to skip to Malou to the
Hmm.
cops when she was pissed.
Oh, so she's the one that so she told them to
What?
the police?
That's who she's talking to.
Oh, okay. I for some reason I thought she was talking to the okay. Okay.
No, sorry, let's back up. So she
Uh-huh.
on March 5th, she went to the cops and she spoke with the
Okay.
detectives that were in charge of investigating the case. So they're
Gotcha.
just like, "What?" And
Okay.
she had kept the secret for a while. Well, a
Damn.
couple of weeks anyways, because this is a couple of weeks later. Because
Shoot.
she first went on October 31st and then November 17th. No, sorry. No, no, no. She waited a couple of months because it wasn't until March 5th of the following year that she
Wow.
went to the cops.
Dang.
So, anyway, so the Dr. Oziel was like, I need to help them somehow. Like they didn't kill just for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm sure at this point, while the cops were happy that they were getting like all this information, they were also probably thinking, like, oh, this is another Craig situation. We don't have any evidence to back this up. It's hearsay. How do we know this is true? But that's when Miss Thang informed the detectives that Dr. Oziel had told her that he had everything on tape, including the actual murder confessions.
Oh,
But
snap.
the detectives just about pop bottles right then and there, they were like, okay, let's do this. But they
Mm-hmm.
still had a job to do. So not yet. So on March 8th, 1990, Detective Zoller got a search warrant for the tapes based on the information that Judalon told him. Dr. Oziel was forced by law to turn over 17 audio tapes and 7 pages of notes to Zoller and Linehan. Finally, they were able to hear with their own ears the details of what happened on August 20th, 1989, from the killers themselves. After reviewing the tapes and the notes, they were sealed into a police evidence bag and taken to the LA County Courthouse in Santa Monica. And a judge would later have to rule whether the patient therapist confidentiality barrier applied in this matter. So
Hmm.
that was still up to a judge to decide. They had this evidence,
Mm-hmm.
but it was very possible that they wouldn't be able to use it in trial. So
See, I still don't get that. Like, I understand, but if it's a confession to where it like, what if someone else is being tried? You know? And I mean, in this case, if if this doctor or they never found out, and then all of a sudden they accuse someone else, but
yeah,
then this doctor has that, like,
they would have to find some other way. If the judge said no, they would have to work. I
oh,
know.
see, it's all effed up. That's horrible.
I know. It's awful because they're still out and about, right? Like this whole
Yeah.
time, but not for long. So judge has that, in her chambers.
Hmm.
And
Did they know they were being recorded?
yes, because it was part of the
They have to disclose
process.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So the day before, on March 7th, Lyle and a few of his friends flew from New Jersey to LA in order to try to recuperate Eric's $40,000 loss from that concert promoter.
Hmm.
During the flight, he called his restaurant just to see how business was booming and was informed that the detectives actually had stopped in an hour after Lyle had left for Newark for the airport. So like they were watching. And Lyle was like, oof, that doesn't feel right. So after he heard about this visit, he takes some money, like $1,400 out of his jacket, and he
Hmm.
hands it to one of his like travel buddies. And he's like, if anything happens to me, use this money to bail me out of jail. And then he also said that his therapist, Dr. Oziel, quote, knows everything.
Hmm.
The next day, on March 8th, around 1 p.m., Lyle and his friends decided to go out for lunch. So they all piled into Eric's Jeep and headed to the Cheesecake Factory, which is so happening back in the 90s. So
Yeah, for real.
what they
Mm-mm.
didn't know was that down the street from the Menendez mansion, the police are waiting in
Mm-mm.
hiding. So Lyle starts driving down the street like wee.
Hmm.
When the Jeep suddenly becomes surrounded by cop cars, it's like mayhem. They were told to get out of the Jeep, which they did, and they were handcuffed and taken to the West Hollywood Sheriff's Station, um, where Lyle was booked and then transported to the LA County Men's Jail in downtown LA. Erik was out of the country at this moment. He was in Israel playing in a tennis tournament, so he was not arrested yet.
Hmm.
Okay, but they were closing in. Later this same afternoon on March 8th, the DA holds a news conference where she stated that the motive for the crime was clearly greed and nothing else. And that, quote, special circumstances had been attached to the charges, which meant that if convicted, the brothers could be put to death in San Quentin's gas chamber, end quote.
Dang.
The Menendez family were beside themselves. They took the news of Lyle's arrest really hard, and they all stated that the whole family was behind the boys,
Hmm.
all of them. So, as I mentioned, Erik was out of the country. And so there was speculation in the media like, ooh, is he going to come back or is he going to stay in
Yeah,
Israel? Like,
exactly.
what's going to happen? But according to a Menendez family member, Erik he relied heavily on his brother. Like, he looked up to him completely. Like, he did whatever his brother told him to do.
Hmm.
There was no way that he was going to not come back.
Yeah.
And he heard about his brother's arrest. He saw it on the news and he calls his uncle from Israel. And his uncle advised him, the best thing for you to do is to turn yourself in. Like, just
Hmm.
do it.
Yeah.
So Erik flew to Miami to meet his aunt, who was going to accompany him to LA. And his aunt notified the detective Zoller and Linehan that she was flying with Erik to Los Angeles so that they can meet them, like they would meet.
Mhm.
March 11th, 1990, Detective Zoller and Linehan met Erik and his aunt at LAX at the airport. They were not going to wait, where Erik was immediately taken into custody and booked into the LA County Men's Jail. So they're locked up,
Wow.
but the detectives were still building a strong case against them because they still didn't have any physical evidence linking the brothers to the murders. Like, and when I mean, like, I'm talking about the gun, the weapons, like the
Mhm.
bullets, the bloody clothes. They didn't have any of that. So they had to work to, really hard and track down the store that sold the weapons to them. And detectives had learned from Judalon, this girl I swear, that
Mhm.
the guns had been purchased in San Diego and that Erik had thrown the guns into a canyon off Mulholland Drive after the murders. So the
Wow.
detective, Zoller, obtained a list of stores that sold guns in San Diego and started making calls. They start by calling the smaller stores, but struck out. So they turned their attention to bigger chains, one of which was a Big Five. On
Mm.
March 14th, Detective Zoller drove to the Big Five store in San Diego. And when he asked the store clerk for the store's firearm records, the detectives found the sales receipt of two 12-gauge shotguns for $200 apiece on August 18th, 1989. The receipt form,
Wow.
though, it was not signed by Erik, it was not signed by Lyle, it was signed by a Donovan J. Goodrow.
Hmm.
So the detective Zoller called Donovan and asked him for his whereabouts on August 18th, 1989. Donovan was like, I was at work, boo. Like, I was managing my restaurant in New York City. And guess what? I have proof because I clocked in. Oh, yes,
Mhm.
clocking in saved
Right.
him. He also reviewed the receipt and he noted that there was an address put down and it was fake. It was not his. He was like, this is not my address. But he did confirm that the driver's license number was his, it matched his, but the signature was fake. He was like, this, I don't even write close to this. So the detective showed, excuse me, when the new DA on the case heard about like that ain't my signature,
Mhm.
he asked the court for an order to permit the collection of Erik and Lyle's handwriting samples to compare to the sales receipt. And Erik flat out refused. He was like, no. Are we guilty? Yeah. So
Wow.
Detective Zoller had finally found the physical link between Jose and Kitty's murders and Erik and Lyle Menendez. They were cooked. And unfortunately, that's where we're cutting you off today,
Oh
folks.
man. Cliffhanger. Oh.
Cliffhanger. I think we're finally going to get to the part of the trial next time. And it's going to be insane. And before we log off, I do want to share that the DA, the current DA in LA, who's looking to get reelected, he said that he
Mhm.
was reviewing the case because, with the release of Monsters on Netflix and just the new interest in the case, I'm sorry, we've all been interested since the get. Rosie O'Donnell has been like shouting from the rooftops for years, but
Mhm.
whatever. So he's like, given the renewed interest, I'm going to take another look and you'll have my decision at the end of this week.
I saw that. Oh my
So
gosh.
I'm praying that it's just like resentencing. I do not want them to have to go through another trial.
Yeah, I would hope not, because I don't know. We already know all of it, you know?
Yeah,
But shoot, the end of the week.
I know. I'm going to be on pins and needles waiting because it's like,
What do you think is going to happen?
oh, I think if they say no, it's they're going to stay in jail forever. Like, we're not going to look at this again, is going to piss off all of America, like
Hmm.
really bad. Like,
Yeah.
because they, I don't want, okay. So, like, you guys are here that there's actually two trials, the original trial, and then they were tried again. And that one was a fucking joke.
Hmm.
Both of them were. And that didn't look good in LA. So that
Yeah.
made LA look so bad. And it was right around the OJ Simpson trial and how he got let off,
Hmm.
the Rodney King trial. So
Hmm.
LA was like needing to like have a win. And on They didn't let any of the evidence in. So, like, I think it'll make them look bad if they just say, the decision is affirmed. No,
Yeah.
I personally think they're gonna resentence them. I'm
And
praying.
yeah, and I have a feeling they're going to be let go and time served on
I
time
agree.
served.
They're gonna be
Yeah.
resentenced, and then yeah, because it's been 35 years, so they already did it. I think the
Yeah.
max is 20 for like second
Mhm.
degree.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, and
That's some
like
crazy stuff.
no, and Gypsy Rose was interviewed, and like she was coming out of like the airport or something. They were like, "Do you have any advice for the Menendez brothers?" And then
Hmm.
just get therapy.
Hmm.
Amen. Like she needs
That's true.
therapy. Like everyone needs therapy. Being rehabilitated, and then you're in the spotlight. You're a star. Look what happened to her. Look what
Yeah.
happened to her.
And honestly, like their lives are going to be so different. Like they've experienced such drastic changes from how they were growing up to how they ended up in prison, that lifestyle. And now they pretty much have nothing, right?
Right.
So, I mean, wow. At this point, I don't want to say they're better off in prison, but they have nothing and they have family, yes, and I'm pretty sure they'll get tons of book deals and God knows what, but um that's
Totally. I
so
mean, they
crazy.
do have family. They have
Mhm.
like I think their grandma's still alive.
Oh shoot.
And or at least the aunt Joan is
Mhm.
still alive. Like they have family, and
Mhm.
they were at the press conference with Mark Garagos, who I love,
Mhm.
who's their attorney. So they have a
Your
really good
mom and I
attorney.
used to follow him around all the time.
As you should. He
Yes.
is so amazing. I can't,
Mhm.
oh, the brain. Like I want to
Oh
like
yeah.
swim through it. Like it's
He's
just
so
like
suave too.
yes, and he has gotten better with age. Oh my
Mhm.
God. So
Yeah.
like they're in good hands, and like
Mhm.
hi Kimberly Noel. Like she is like
Right.
working hard. So I have faith. I have a lot of
Mhm.
faith.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's sad. And I do think that when it comes to, like I always say, with our judicial system, certain things like this, when it comes to childhood trauma, and yeah, I don't know, because I don't know, I'm not there, we're not there yet, but I don't know if
Right.
how this transpires with, the allegations of what the father did or whatever. But I do think that certain things that happen in your childhood do mess with you. And it could force you to not make the best decisions, like in the case of Gypsy Rose, um, where you tend to just feel like maybe the only way out is that, you know?
Hmm.
I mean, obviously these, didn't go about it the right way, but it's sad. And people that have a lot of clout in certain industries, with that are affiliated maybe even with the police or whatever, sometimes people feel like, you see that a lot of times with like domestic violence cases where wives don't want to say anything because of who their husbands know,
Yes.
and the fear that comes with that. So it prevents them and they feel like the only way to get out of situations is to kill them.
Right.
It's so I don't know. I We'll see what happens next week. I'm excited.
Girl, yes. So we will
Whew.
see you. Thank you so much, Neen, for
Mhm.
chatting with me. It's yeah,
No,
it's
thank you. I'm
definitely
glad I brought my trail mix today because that was
girl.
juicy.
You're so cute.
Ah,
But yeah, definitely watch Worst Ex Ever, and we're gonna follow up and see
yes.
if you did. And then thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch
Mhm.
you on the flip side.
Oh yeah. Peace out, buddies. Whoop whoop.